तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। दोर्भिर्युक्ताश्चतुर्भिस्फटिकमणिमयीम् अक्षमाला ददान हस्तेनैकेन पद्मं सित अपि च सुखं पुस्तकं चापरेण भासा कुन्देन्दुशङ्खस्फटिकमणिभा भासमाना समाना सा मे वाग्देवतेयं निवसतु वदने सर्वदा सुप्रसन्ना कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं यः पिबन् सततं रामचरितामृतसागरम् अतृप्तस्तं मुनिं वन्दे प्राचेतसमकल्मषं गोष्पतीकृतवाराशिं मशकीकृतराक्षसं रामायण महामाला रत्नं वन्दे अनिलात्मजम् अञ्जनानन्दनं वीरं जानकी शोकनाशनं कपीशम् अक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम् उल्लङ्घ्य सिन्धोः सलिलं शलीलं यः शोकवह्निं जनकात्मजायाः आदाय तेनैव ददाह लङ्कां नमामि तं प्राञ्जलिराञ्जनेयम् आञ्जनेयमतिपाटलाननं काञ्चनाद्रिकमणीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि पवमाननन्दनं यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूतमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि वैदेही सहितं सुरद्रुमतले हैमे महामण्डपे पुष्पकमासने मणिमये वीरासने सुस्थितम् अग्रे वाजयति प्रभञ्जनसुते तत्त्वं मुनिभ्यः परं व्याख्यान्तं भरतादिभिः परिकृतं रामं भजे श्यामलं वामे भूमिसुता पुरश्च हनुमान् पश्चात् सुमित्रासुतः शत्रुघ्नो भरतश्च पार्श्वदलयो वाय्वादिकोणेषु च सुग्रीवश्च विभीषणश्च युवराट् तारासुतो जाम्भवान् मध्ये नीलसरोजकोमलरुचिं रामं भजे श्यामलम् रामं रामानुजं सीतां भरतं भरतानुजं सुग्रीवं वायुसूनुं च प्रणमामि पुनः पुनः नमोऽस्तु रामाय सलक्ष्मणाय देव्यै च तस्यै जनकात्मजायै नमोऽस्तु रुद्रेन्द्रयमानिलेभ्यो नमोऽस्तु चन्द्रार्कमरुद्गणेभ्यः चरितं रघुनाथस्य शतकोटिप्रविस्तरम् एकैकमक्षरं पुंसां महापातकनाशनम् वाल्मीकिगिरिसम्भूता रामाम्भोनिधिसङ्गता श्रीमद् रामायणी गङ्गा पुनातिभुवनत्रयं वाल्मीकेर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं को न याति परां गतिं सकृदेव प्रपन्नाय तवास्मीति च याचते अभयं सर्वभूतेभ्यो ददाम्येतद्व्रतं मम वेदवेदे परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना मानिषादप्रतिष्ठां त्वमधमः शाश्वतीः समाः यत्क्रौञ्चन्तु नादेकम् अवधीः काममोहितं कलये सुन्दराकारं सदैकप्रियदर्शनम् अज्ञाननाशकं देवं सद्गुरुं मुरलीधरं मुरलीमण्डितकरकमलं मुनिजनमोहनं व्यत्यस्तपादं वनमालाधारिणं प्रेमभक्तमण्डल नित्यकीर्तितं श्रीप्रेमिकवरदम् आश्रयेऽहं श्रीमान् शेषाद्रिनिलयः शरणागतवत्सलः सर्वलोकैकनाथश्च श्रीनिवासो गतिर्मम योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोहता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनूमत्स्मरणात् भवेत् जानकीकान्तस्मरणं जय जय राम राम आञ्जनेय स्वामी की जय सद्गुरु महाराज की जय। By the divine grace of our beloved Guru Maharaj, Maharanyam Shri Muralidhara Swamiji, and the divine couple Madhuri Siddhi Sameta Premika Varada Thakurji, we are all really blessed to be a part of this Navaratri satsang, where we are going to relish the greatness of Ramagunas. Ramagunas, Ramayanam, Sitaya Saritam Mahat, Paulasya Vadham. There are three names that are given by Valmiki Maharishi for Srimad Ramayana. In that, the most popular one and the well-known one is Ramayana. He has given 3 names. The first one is Ramayana. The second one is Sitayaha Charitam Mahade. So that is going to be our Rangoli theme for this Navaratri Utsava. And the third one is Paulastya. Paulastya means Ravana who comes in the Paulastya Vamsha. So he is called Paulastya. So Paulastya Badham. So the killing of Ravana. So 3 names has been given by Valmiki Maharishi. And the most prominent one and the known one, and which is even more apt than the other 2 names, is Ramayana. Ayanam is a name that we have come across. We used to say Uttarayanam or Dakshinayanam, we used to call the direction in which the sun moves. So whether it moves in the north side, it is called as Uttarayana, and whether it comes to the south one, it is called as Dakshinayana. Though sun rises from east and west, its movement changes from north to south. So it is given as Dakshinayana and Uttarayana. So Ayanam is a very common name. Ayanam means path, Ayanam means way, Ayanam na vadi. So that being the case, so Ramayana means the path followed by Ramachandra Prabhu, or in other words, the path showed by Ramachandra Prabhu. Because for Ramachandra Prabhu it is path followed, but for us it is path showed. So it is Srimad Ramayana. And the most greatest thing or great thing about Ramavataram or Ramayanam is we can learn a lot of things from Srimad Ramayana. And the avataram itself is mainly for that. Because there is no need for Bhagavan to come to this world and undergo a lot of tribulations and trials and these hardships. Because though Bhagavan's avatar is required, Bhagavan's avatar is needed, he can do it or he can exhibit in several ways. If you see in the case of Nrsimha Avataram, Bhagavan just came out from the Stambham and he immediately killed Hiranyakashipu, saved Prahalada, and immediately he disappeared. And if you see Vamana Avataram, it is also a foreshot. He came for taking all the, Vamana Avataram was for taking all the Selvam or the things of Bali and give it to Indra, Iswarga Lokam, all those things that were part of Mahabali. It was taken by Bhagavan to give it back to Devendra. So that being the case, that is the, if you see all other avatars, or Matsya Avataram, or Purva Avataram, whatever it may be, it has a very particular task. And it is very simplified avataram, just for moments or minutes or hours or seconds or days. But there are only 2 avatars which Bhagavan has made sankalpam, taken a vow, and he has decided to be in this world for several years. So the first one is Rama Avataram, is for 11,000 years. Dasavarsha Sahasrani, Dasavarsha Satani cha Vatsyami Manushe Loke Palayan Prithvi Nima. So this is what Ramachandra Prabhu mentions. And the next avataram is Sri Krishna Avataram, which is for 125 years. Bhagavan was in this world. So if you see, these 2 are the most important avatars. And if you want to learn something from these 2 avatars, the primary avatar comes for learning is Sri Rama Avatar. So immediately, the first thing that comes to our mind is Alvar's Pasura, which says, Karpar I Rama Pirane Allal Matrum Karpar. So if you want to learn something, if you want to know something, among all avatars of Bhagavan, the correct avatar and the exact avatar, the proper avatar for that is Sri Rama Avatar. So he asks, Karpar Rama Pirane Allal Matrum Karpar. Will you go for any other avatar other than Rama Avataram for learning? So what we are going to learn from Rama Avataram? So Rama Avataram is from Ramayana. So what we are going to learn from Ramayana? Alvar asks, what is not there in Ramayana? So what we are going to learn is never a question here. What is not there? So if you just take the Ramayana Grantha and read all the 24,000 shlokas and understand the meaning of all those shlokas, you can get to know a lot of things. So what are those lot of things? So those lot of things can be classified into a single term called as human qualities. So if you want to be a human, then you have to learn the qualities of Ramachandra Prabhu. So what is there in Srimad Ramayana? You can see dharma there, you can see satyam, truthfulness there, you can see righteousness there, you can see niti there, you can see chastity there. So all the people in Ramayana, they themselves have a competition. They themselves have a competition in what way, in what sense? Because all the people show some superior qualities which make us awestruck. So whatever quality, whomever quality you see. If you see Bharata's quality, it is so great. If you see Lakshmana's qualities, it is so great. If you see Sita Mata's quality, it is so great. So each individual in Srimad Ramayana, if you take Dasharatha, he becomes the perfect father. So if you see Kausalya Devi, she becomes the perfect mother. If you see Kaikeyi Devi, she is an example of not being a perfect mother. So all the people, if you see, whomever it may be, if you see Bharata's gunas are so great, exact brothers. So likewise, if you want to see a proper wife, then you can see Sita Mata. If you want to see a proper husband, you can see Ramachandra Prabhu. He is taking all the efforts to go and fetch her back. So if you see each and every individual, each and every person in Ramayana have beautiful qualities and beautiful attributes. And should not forget Ravana also. He is a perfect enemy. He is a perfect enemy. Even knowing the credentials and greatness of Ramachandra Prabhu, he didn't back out. He didn't stop at all. He went and fought with Ramachandra Prabhu. Before that, he submitted his entire clan to Ramachandra Prabhu and he was the final person coming there. So if you see each and every individual in Srimad Ramayana are so great. Each and every individual are in a so much height with which it is very difficult for us to reach that. So that being the case, all the individuals, that is why Alvar says, Karpari Rama Pirane Allal Mattum Karparo. But there is a difference. You have to note the Pasuram. It says, it doesn't say Karpar Ramayanatte Allal. It doesn't say we should learn Ramayana. So now we are speaking, we should learn Ramayana. First we have to learn it, but the end product or the final result of learning Ramayana is knowing Ramachandra Prabhu's gunas and qualities are the people who are all associated with Ramayana. It doesn't end there. It says Karpari Rama Pirane Allal, meaning that just by knowing how Ramachandra Prabhu was, just by knowing how Sita Devi was, just by knowing how all the people, others in Ramayana was, that doesn't stop there. We have to follow it. We have to inculcate those things which Ramachandra Prabhu showed, which Sita Mata showed. Because if you see Ramayana as a religious text, it is there for this Sanatana Dharma, all the things are there. But the qualities or the things that Ramayana shows us is needed for the entire community, whichever religion or whichever dharma or whichever group they belong to. Because if you don't need to be, do we not like to be a proper child? Do we not like to be a proper wife? Do we not like to be a proper husband? So all these human qualities which are needed for the entire mankind to progress, so the entire humanity to progress, all the qualities are present here. So Alvar says, Karpa I Rama Pirani, just by learning the 24,000 shlokas which Valmiki Maharishi wrote is not enough. It seems we have to incorporate it. We have to cultivate those practices. So he says, Karpari Rama Pirani. He mentions that individual, meaning the individual, meaning the path he followed, meaning the path he showed us. So he says, Karpari Rama Pirane Allal Matrum Karparo. So what is the benefit of learning? This is the question, right? So whatever we learn, we should get something out of it. Some result should be there. So basic human qualities is needed. Okay, fine. Basic human qualities is enough for this world. So whatever we live here, however we live here, this is for this world alone. So the karmas that we do, the papa punyas that we gain, all those things are for this world and it reflects on the other world also, right? So that being the case, listening to Ramayana, listening to Ramachandra Prabhu's gunas and practicing it, we will have a beautiful and legible life in this world. And the next one is, if you see in this pasuram, he completes by mentioning Narpal Ayodhya Varum Sarasaram Muttram. So, all the people in Ayodhya, what benefit did they gain? They were taken by Ramachandra Prabhu to Vaikuntha also. So, if you follow these qualities that Ramachandra Prabhu showed, if you follow the qualities and if you inculcate it in our lives, then we will have a proper human life here and it will also benefit us in leaving Bhagavan's abode also. So it will stop our next janma also. So first, if you want to need bhakti, if you want to show devotion to Bhagavan, if you want jnana, that is the supreme knowledge, if you want all those things related to spirituality, the first thing is that we should have basic qualities. So only then, first the vessel should be cleaned. Only then we can add milk into it, right? So if the vessel itself is not clean, then how can we add milk to it? Even though if we add milk to it, it will get wasted. It will not be good. So that being the case, first the vessel should be cleaned. So in Ramavataram, Bhagavan beautifully told all the qualities that are needed for a normal human being. And in the next avatar, if you see in Krishna Avataram, since through Ramavataram, through the qualities of Rama, the person will become pure, the person will become clean, so that the vessel is clean now. So Bhagavatam concentrates on bhakti. But even though we have bhakti in Ramayana, we have jnanam in Ramayana, we have vairagyam in Ramayana, all those things are in Ramayana, but The predominant thing that what Ramayana shows us is human qualities. There are two dharmas. First one is Samanya Dharma and next one is Vishesha Dharma. So the Samanya Dharma part is shown in Ramayana, but it also holds the Vishesha Dharma part, which is called as Bhagavata Dharma. So if you see in the case of Ahalya Shapa Vimokchanam, there is no Samanya Dharma there. Because Samanya Dharma has lost its position there and only Bhagavata Dharma came to that rescue there for Ahalya. So that being the case, in order to be saved or in order to be protected, if we fall down, we need Bhagavata Dharma. But before falling down, how can we improve us? Before falling down, how can we engage us? So that being the case, that is what this Samanya Dharma shows us. So how a proper child should be, how a proper husband should be, how a proper wife should be, how proper brothers should be, how proper people should be, how proper servant should be, how proper enemy also should be. So all those things are showed here. That's why Alvar says, Karpaki Ramapirane Allal Matrum Karpa. And Ramayana is mainly for the people who want to live a proper life. It shows us those human qualities there. And Valmiki Bhagavan is clearly posting, he is not thinking of a avataram or a Bhagavat form here. He clearly asks, Shuyatam vai naraha. So the question is, tell me about a human. The question itself posed here, he is not asking about which avataram of Bhagavan. He doesn't go there at all. And he wants an avatar that should be a human, and it is in his entire stay in this world should behave as a human there. Even if you see in the Yuddha Kandam of Ramayana in the end, when all the devas gather and asks and tell to Ramachandra Prabhu that you are Bhagavan himself, he says, he rejects it. He says, Atmanam Manusham Manye Ramam Dasharathatmajam. I am a human. Because why Bhagavan is so keen in showing him as a human, and why Valmiki Bhagavan is so keen in showing him as a human? Because if we see Ramachandra Prabhu as Bhagavan, then it will become an excuse for us. Because whenever we see the qualities that are showed by Ramachandra Prabhu, if he showed them as Bhagavan, then the first excuse that we say is, he is Bhagavan. I can't inculcate them, or I can't practice them, or I can't show them. So Bhagavan is very clear. If you want to catch a deer, it is told that you must take a form of a deer. Manai man kudipar pole is what we call in Tamil. So if you want to catch a deer from a group, then you should also be in the deer's form. Only then the deer will not get afraid of, or it will not get fear, and it will not run away. So then we can catch it. So for that being the case, Ramachandra Prabhu, in order to catch all those human beings in this world, he himself came as a human. So that is why Konvasmin Sampratam Loke. That too, that person should be in this world at this moment is what Valmiki asks. So that being the case, a human avatar is needed here. And that too, all the human qualities and essential things for a human life should be showed there. So Ramayana itself is an ideal society. So it's what our Guru Maharaj used to say. If you see, the people in the Ramayana are ideal. They are not practical. They are ideal. So practical is the situation in which we live, and ideal is something we need to achieve. So that being the case, if you see the entire Ramayana, all people are ideal. So we are always, it is Ramayana. There is no destination at all there. So if you see in Ramayana, it is always the path. Because those people have already crossed the path and they have gone to that ideal state. But if you see in our life, we are not so. And a beautiful example there comes in Ayodhya Kandam, where Ramachandra Prabhu was decided to be coronated. He will be made the king tomorrow. But at that moment, he has been told to go to the forest. And look at the way in which he conducts himself. He doesn't go and shout at Dasharatha, or doesn't he goes inside and cries. Both the things are not there, because in those situations, there are only two ways in which we can react. One thing is that who created problem, or else if we are not capable of fighting them, then we will go inside and we will cry. These are the two things that can happen. But those two things were not shown by Ramachandra Prabhu. He accepted his situation, and he was not planned, he was not ready, or he didn't plan those things also. So if you want to go to the forest, then what we can say? So we can say that after I complete all my family responsibilities, and after my children are very settled in their life, then I can go to the forest and do tapas. Then I can go to the forest, or then I can do kshetradanam. I can go to several tirthas, I can go to several kshetras. So I can involve myself in spirituality. Like that we can plan, right? Yeah, any other thing it may be, we can plan and we can go in that direction, in that way. But if you see in the case of Ramachandra Prabhu, it happened at that moment. He was very much ready to be coronated. He didn't hesitate, or he didn't say it's not needed now. He was also ready to be coronated. but the opposite happened, and immediately he about to leave the forest. So at that moment, Bharata is also not there, Shatrughna is also not there. So that can be the right situation for Lakshmana to capture the throne. Could have been right, but he didn't do so. He immediately followed Ramachandra Prabhu, leaving off the throne there or leaving off the kingdom there. And immediately Bharata comes back. And when Bharata comes back, now this is the perfect opportunity for him. If not, he could have accepted the throne. But he felt that it is not his throne, and he goes to the forest to call back Ramachandra Prabhu. And at that juncture, Shatrughna could have accepted the throne. So all the four brothers didn't accept. And we have to note one more thing. When Ramachandra Prabhu was about to go to the forest on his travel, all the people of Ayodhya followed him. And all the people of Ayodhya, even though when Ramachandra Prabhu is going to the forest, all the people were telling and all the people were interested that Ramachandra Prabhu should be coronated. He would have used that situation, right? He would have clearly used the people, he could have agitated them, he could have asked them to fight against the kingdom, and somehow he could have grabbed the kingdom. And if you see most of the rulers in our history, it is their swabhavam, it is their guna that they mostly capture the kingdom in this way. Most of the kings, whether it may be kings from other countries who come and occupy here, or kings in this country also, only Ramachandra Prabhu and his family, they never did that at all. So all the four brothers who are capable to rule the kingdom, who are right to the throne, in such case they left the kingdom and they went. And if you see, generally if there is a property dispute in a family, it is always be the people who will be standing on the streets, because the property case will go to the court will keep a seal there. So the people will not be able to use that property at all till the court case comes to an end or any verdict comes. But if you see in the case of Ramayana, the kingdom or the property is standing in the streets. It does, all the four people are there, all the four brothers are there, they are right to rule the kingdom, but although four brothers refuse to rule the kingdom, and the kingdom is waiting for a king to rule it, but it is not having one. So if you see, these are really ideal situations, and these are ideal situations at its peak. So it is really difficult to achieve those things. If you see practically, it is not possible. And if you want to get a practical example of these things, then you can go to the next Itihasa, that is Mahabharata. So all those things are practical. It is a family, it is a dispute between two family groups. They fight for the throne, and all the people in their family, they bring their friends, their known people, and all the people fight, and they finally lose. So only five Pandavas are remaining. All the people in Pandavas group and in Kauravas group both are dead. So it is a practical situation, and it is practicality at its peak. So if you see, I am not sure whether if the entire clan or the entire group will die because of a property dispute. So it is practicality at its extreme, and it is in the ideal state, it is really extreme if you see in the case of Ramayana. So we have to learn from Ramayana. So all the things, it gives an ideal thing. It's a perfect society, it's an ideal society. So all the people teach us. So if you see the qualities of all the people in Ramayana, who even it may be Kuni, take Kuni teaches us. She teaches us a lesson. From Kaikai, if you see Kaikai is so close to Kuni. And she tells her that she has obtained 2 boons from Dasharatha when she went for a battle earlier, when they were young. So that being the case, since it is a personal talk or a personal conversation between an husband and a wife, why should that wife go and tell it to a servant? It is not needed at all. It can be a personal conversation. Whatever case it may be, it's a conversation between 2 people who are going to lead an entire life in that direction. So that being the case, whomever it may be, whether it may be family members also, it is not needed to be told. So that being the case, why should she go and tell to Kuni? And you see the character of Kuni, she is so witty that she used it for her personal benefit. So it is going to entirely affect the entire kingdom of the family. Because of her thing to happen, because she doesn't like Ramachandra Prabhu. So for her own self-interest, for her possessiveness and her not liking Ramachandra Prabhu, for that reason alone, the entire group or the entire clan or the entire family is suffering. Even the people in Ayodhya are suffering. So that being the case, even Kuni teaches us a lesson, even Kaikai teaches us a lesson. So whatever touch in Ramayana, so if there is an old castle, wherever if you go and touch, we don't know what are there in it. So if you go and touch there may be a golden statue there, it will fall off. You go to an old castle which is abandoned. So like that being the case, Ramayana is not abandoned, but it is fresh and it is real. But if you see, if you touch any portion in Ramayana, it will give us a lesson, it will teach us a lesson. If you see Guha, if you see Anjaneya Swami, if you see Sugriva, who come in a small portion. So Guha's portion is really small in Ramayana, Bharadwaja Maharishi portion is really small in Ramayana. So whomever if you see, all those people in Ramayana teach us a lesson. So that is the reason for Valmiki Maharishi writing. And one more great thing about Valmiki Maharishi is, he is contemporary to Ramachandra Prabhu. Generally, since we are contemporary, it will be more authentic. So if you see Kamba Ramayana, it changes. If you see Tulasidas Ramayana, it varies. And if you see all other Ramayanas, there will definitely be a variation from the true copy, that is the master copy, that is Valmiki Ramayana. Why Valmiki Ramayana is considered as the master copy? Because he lived at the same time Ramachandra Prabhu is. And if you see in Aranyakandam, there is a place where Ramachandra Prabhu goes and resides, stays in Valmiki Maharishi's ashram. So they are so contemporary. That is why the question itself is converse, means Sampratam Loke. Sampratam means present at this moment. So not in this world alone, in this moment that person should be there. So that is what the question is posted by Valmiki Maharishi. So he beautifully captures the entire charitram of Ramachandra Prabhu. Nateva Kandata Kagya is what the blessings of Brahmadeva to Valmiki Maharishi, that the statements that you write will never go false. So if you write, it would have happened there. What would have happened there is only you would have written. So since this shows that this is not done or written by just by human efforts, divine intervention is there in order to bring this Ramayana to this world. That is why it is still present till this day. So that being the case, Ramayana is so great, and it starts Om Tapaswadhyaya Niratam Tapasvi Vagvidambaram Naradam Paripapracha Valmiki Munipungamam Konvasmin Sampratam Loke Gunavan Kascha Vidyavan Dharmajnascha Pratajnascha Satyavakyo Dridhavrataha Charitrena Cha Koyuktaha Sarvabhuteshu Kohitaha Vidwan Kaha Samarthascha Kaschaika Priyadarshanaha Atmavan Ko Chitakrodaha Dutiman Ko Nasuyakaha Kasya Vidhyati Devascha Jataro Shasya Samyuge. This is how it starts. So the first shloka itself is Tapaswadhyaya Niratam. And if you see the first word, it is Tapaha. And before that, if you see the first word is Ta, the first letter is Ta. So the greatness of the letter Ta, if you see in Ramayana, I think Valmiki Bhagavan likes this letter Ta the most. So wherever he starts Valmiki Ramayana, wherever important portion he starts with the letter Ta. So if you see Sundarakandam, it starts with Tato Ravananidaya, so it starts with that. Similarly, if you see the Jananam of Ramachandra Prabhu, it is Takaschat Dvadase Mase Chaitre Navamike Chitau. So he starts with that. So what is the significance of that? It is mentioned that it has a greater significance. Because it is Vighna Nashanam and Mangala Praptam, the letter itself. Because if you see in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says Aksharanam Akarosmi. So among all the letters, I am Akara. So the first letter. So likewise, each letter has some significance, has some greatness. So if you see the significance for the letter Ta is Vighna Nashana. It will remove all inauspiciousness, all the issues that we have or the disasters that we have. And Mangalam Apnuvanti, Prapnoti. So meaning that it will give us a lot of auspiciousness. So the letter itself, so he starts with the letter Ta. And if you take the first word, it is Tapa. If you have seen in Bhagavatam, the first word that originated from Bhagavan's words was Tapa. So that is what he instructed Brahmadeva to do tapas, so that he will get the knowledge to do this creation. So the first words, the first letters that originated from Bhagavan's words itself. So that means because when Brahmadeva was born, there was no other person available, and immediately if there is an ashariri that is being heard by him, then it should definitely be Bhagavan's voice. So Bhagavan says Tapa, the first word. So Ramayana, he uses that word to start Ramayana. Tapaha Swadhyaya Niratam Tapasvi Vagvidambaram Naradam Paripapracha Valmiki Munipungamam. So this is the first slokam of Ramayana, the first slokam of the Grantha. And generally there is a way in which the first slokam should be written or should come off. The way in which it should come is that just three ways it should come. So the first way is that it should be a namaskaram to some deity, or it should be describing the person about whom this grantha is going to speak about, or it should give some asirvachan. So it should be let that Bhagavan protect me, or let Bhagavan provide us all the auspiciousness. So I am going to speak about so and so person. So if you see Bhagavatam Satyam Param Dhimahi. So it starts with the Param Dhimahi. So I am going to speak about that Paramatma, that Paramapurushan is what Bhagavatam denotes in its first shloka. But if you see in Bhagavatam, if you see in Ramayana, it is not so. It is just shows us that there is going to be a conversation between two people. That is Tapaswadhyayanatam Tapasvi Vagvidambaram Naradam Paripapracha Valmikir Munipungavam. So there are two names here. The first name is Narada Maharishi and the second name is Valmiki Maharishi. So these two people are joining together. So these two people are meeting and there is a conversation. There is a question which is being posted by Valmiki Maharishi. Naradam Paripapracha. Valmiki Maharishi questions Narada in this way. And there are three adjectives for Narada Maharishi and a single adjective for Valmiki Maharishi. So Tapaswadhyaya Niratam Vagvidambaram Unipungavam. These three words are description for Narada Maharishi and Tapasvi is the description for Valmiki Maharishi. But Mahans who have written commentary for Ramayana mention that this slokam shows the qualities of a guru and a sishya. So that is what most importantly matters. So wherever if you see in whatever shastra if you see in our Sanatana Dharma, it is always a guru present there and a sishya present there. And the sishya will be asking questions. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upatekshantite jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. So Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna that if you want to know something, if you want to gain knowledge about something, you have to approach a guru. You have to serve him. And when that guru is so pleased with you, he will bestow you all the knowledge. So this is what our Sanatana Dharma goes. So if you see in Bhagavatam, Parikshit asks question to Sukha Maharishi. You see Vishnu Puranam, Maitreya Maharishi asks questions there. So Parashatum, Aparashara Maharishi. So all the Puranas or all the Itihasas or whatever Shastra Upanishads, there is conversation between two people. So they will be posting questions and the answer will be relating to it. Likewise, if you see in Ramayana, it is a conversation between two people, that is Narada Maharishi and Valmiki Maharishi. And it says Tapaswadhyaya Niratam. So the person here who is the guru here is Narada Maharishi and the Sishya here is Valmiki Maharishi. So this shloka explains the qualities of a guru. So who can be a guru? So this shows that all people can't be guru. So Tapaswadhyaya Niratam. So first quality. The next one is Vagvidambaram, which is the second quality. And third one is Munipungavam. So Tapaswadhyaya Niratam. Tapaha means his own tapas. So a guru should have a tapas. So he should have done some penance. So what is penance first? So immediately penance means stopping all our food, going and sitting in an isolated place, not seeing anybody, not speaking with anybody. That is also called as tapas. But what is the exact and proper meaning for tapas is that what we do without altering or changing. One activity or one dharma which we take, if we follow it continuously, then it becomes a tapas. So if you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning daily, that is also a tapas. I don't know whether waking up at 11 o'clock in the morning becomes a tapas or not, but waking up 4 o'clock in the morning can definitely become a tapas. Why I mention you, since this thing has come here, I will mention. Because dharma means, dharma means swabhava. So swabhava means nature. So there is a relation between dharma and nature. And the most important thing here that should be followed is we have to be along with the nature. So nature here is the prakriti here. So meaning that we have to wake up when the sun is out there. When the sun wakes up, we have to wake up. So whenever the sun comes out, so if you see here we have a sunrise at 7:15. So it is guaranteed that we can sleep till 7:15. Then it will not become a dharma. It can be taken as a dharma. Yeah, here. And if in some countries, I think there are no sunrise at all, depending on that it varies. But if you go into that topic, then you will not be able to see Ramayana, it will become a Dharma Shastra Vicharam there. So that is not needed now, but we have to be along with the nature. So if we are along with the nature, that becomes our dharma. So வந்து எப்போ சூரியன் உதிக்கிறதோ அப்போ நம்ம எழுந்துரும். So that is a primary thing that is mentioned. So that being the case, so tapaha means something that we do regularly, that we follow regularly. So if we wake up at that 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, what time sun comes out, then if we follow it regularly, then it becomes dharma. So if we follow chanting 100 namas daily, then that becomes a tapas. That becomes a tapas. So if you have this food restrictions regularly, then that becomes a tapas. Initially, in the initial case, those things can be called as tapas, and which is done regularly and continuously, then it becomes tapas. So a guru must have a tapas. And in order to become an acharya or a guru, then the level of tapas that he should hold is so tapaha. So guru should possess tapas. He should have tapas. Swadhyaya nilatam. Swadhyaya means Vedas. Swadhyaya means Shastras. So the tapas that we do is not we who decide it. So if we ourselves go and stand in the sun from morning 6 a.m. to evening 6 p.m., then that doesn't become tapas. Because that is not prescribed in the Vedas. That is not prescribed in the Shastras. So whatever which we do continuously, and it should be prescribed in the Shastras. So that is called as tapas. So tapaha swadhyaya nilatam. So a guru should have a great tapas, and that tapas should not be decided on his own. It should be reflecting from the Shastras. So tapaha swadhyaya nilatam. So again, if you go for swadhyayam, it is Shastras. Similarly, if you go for tapas, tapas means jnana. Jnana is the supreme knowledge of the Brahman, that is of the Bhagavan. So tapaha means jnana. So a guru, not alone he should be having tapas, at the same time he should have realized who Bhagavan is. Just not by knowing what the Shastras say, that I am not this Sharira, this body, I am the Atma Swarupam that is present inside. Just knowing that is not enough, but it should have been in his experience. So tapaha means jnana, anubhava jnana. Realization is what is called as tapaha. So for that realization should also be related with the Shastras. So we ourselves telling that I have realized so and so thing, so I become a great jnani, or I become a great rishi, or I become a great guru, then that can't be accepted, because that should also go along with the what is mentioned in the Shastras. So tapaha swadhyaya niratam. Your guru should have tapas, your guru should have jnanam, and those jnanam and tapas should be related with the Shastras. So tapas swadhyaya niratam. Tapasvi is an adjective for Valmiki Maharishi. So what is his tapas? He was given the initiation of Ramanama, and he has been chanting it from the day Narada Maharishi gave him. So that is his tapas. Kirato bhut munisreshtaha Valmiki iti vishrutaha. Just a hunter was living in the forest, was selected by Guru Narada Maharishi. He gave him the Ramanama, which we know that story. He was not able to chant it properly, so he told him the ulta way. As Tulisidasa mentions, ulta jabu. The way in which Tulisidasa mentioned, Valmiki Maharishi chanted was ulta. So not Rama, it was Mara. So that being the case, he was being constantly chanting that Rama till Narada Maharishi came to him again. And then if you see, an entire big hand hill was constructed over him. And again, Narada Maharishi, on coming to him, he blessed him and he came out of that ant hill, is what the earlier story is. So that relates to Valmiki Maharishi's tapas. So tapas swadhyaya nilatam, tapasvi. And third one is vagvidambara. So the quality of a guru. So which attracts the person to a guru is the oratory skills of that guru. So the guru should be well learned. The guru should have realized Bhagavan, and the guru should have great tapas, and the fourth one is he should speak well also. So if a Shishya comes and asks him few questions about the Shastras or the spiritual practice that he is engaging in, if the Guru doesn't speak properly, or if he is always in a mute or maunam or in silence, then the clarifications of the Shishya will never happen. So for that the Guru should speak well. Moreover, he should attract the Shishya to his speech. So, and if you see the Guru here, he is Narada Maharishi, and his speech will attract even Asuras. So he is so great in speaking. So it is Vagvidambaram. So he should have great oratory skills. And it mentions Naradam Paripapracha Valmikir Munipungama. And where those oratory skills will be present. So when he is given a stage, when there are several people to listen what he says, At that moment alone, if he speaks about Bhagavan, and next moment when he goes inside, if he starts watching cricket match, or if he starts speaking about politics, or if he starts speaking about some worldly things, then that cannot be credited as a quality of a guru. Muni Pungavam, always Anavratam. Whenever, if you go and stand in front of him, if he is eating at that juncture, then immediately he will be mentioning some Mahatma's charitra which is related to eating. And if he is taking bath at that time, if you go and do service to him, and that time he will be mentioning a story related to that. Of Mahatmas, of great rishis, or about Bhagavan himself. So, Muni Pungavam, so wherever you go, whenever if you have an association with him, then he will always be speaking about Bhagavan. He doesn't have any other thought. That's what Bhagavatam says, Shunvanti, Gayanti, Gunanti, Sadhava. They will be speaking about Bhagavan, they will be listening about Bhagavan, or they will constantly be thinking about Bhagavan. So these three things are the qualities of sadhus and great mahas. So Muni Pungavam. So he is a Muni, and Pungavam means he is greatest or top among, superior among all the Munis. Then he must have constant thinking of Bhagavan. Always the Guru should be thinking about Bhagavan, nothing else. And we should reach such a Guru. And if you reach such a Guru, then what? Initially he won't give us all the instructions, or initially he won't be bestowing all the knowledge to us. We should serve him. So, Paripapracha. So that's what Tartidhi Pranipatena. We should go and fall at his feet. We should gain his confidence. We should show our bhakti. Then finally he will be giving us all the jnana that is needed for us. So, Paripapracha. So, and here, since it is related to a question that is asked by Narada, Valmiki Maharshi to Narada, Paripapracha. So, if you see such a Guru or such a Mahatma, so how should we go and speak to him, or how should we go and approach him? We should not go and ask, is your health, are you good in health? If you had, yesterday did you take good rest? Did you have proper food? These questions are no need to be asked to a Mahatma. It is mentioned in Bhagavatam that Kushala Yatra Nasanti Mati Vrittayaha. So those people are so great that they themselves have forgotten this Shariram and they are living in this world. And if you go to them and ask about questions related to the body, the food that we take, or if we have good rest, those things are related to the body. And those Mahatmas are realized that they are beyond this body and they have one more this body. So that being the case, if you go and speak to them or ask them about the worldly things or the things associated with our body, then that can't be considered great. And even if we have few issues or few problems in our life, just by their darshan, Darshanadeva Sadhava, just by their darshan, though all those things would immediately, we will come out of those things. So instead of speaking about worldly things or about our body, we should go and ask Paripapracha, great questions to them. So that how Parikshit asked Shukacharya, like how Valmiki Bhagavan here asks Narada Maharshi. So if you get such a Guru, it is difficult to go and search him also. So it is mentioned that it is not Valmiki Bhagavan who went and searched for Narada Maharshi. It is not so. Narada Maharshi came in search of Valmiki Bhagavan. So the Guru, such a Guru, if we get such a Guru, how can we go and search him with those qualities? So if we accept someone as a Guru, then we can't test them at all. It is only a Guru who can test the Shishya, and it's not the opposite way. Oh, I will search for my Guru and I will test him. So if you give some exam questions for him and they will give him a pass mark or not, so those things can't happen. So a relationship between a Guru and a Shishya is related to the mind. So on seeing the Guru, something would have captivated that Shishya, the way in which he conducts, the way in which he speaks, the way in which he approaches us. So all these things matters, which makes that Shishya to completely surrender to that Guru. So you should get such a Guru. Here Valmiki Bhagavan gets such a Guru, and he didn't search for him. He came in search of that Shishya, which is Narada Maharshi here. And the greatness of such a Guru is Narada. So Narada means it's not just a name or not just a term. It means that Narayanaha Dadati iti Narada. So whomever gives us Bhagavan itself, or whoever takes us to Bhagavan itself, becomes Narada. So here Narada Maharshi is a person also, and the term refers to such a Guru also. So here Narada Maharshi comes in search of Valmiki Maharshi because he has given him the Ramanama earlier. Generally a Guru takes a Shishya and he will give him some instructions or give him some japam. Just by hearing what that Guru has told him once, when he has been instructed, and if that Shishya stops chanting that Nama, then there is no use for even the Guru and the Shishya also. But if since we have chanted it once, we have got it from the Guru, that itself will give us great things. But if the Shishya starts to chant that Nama or the Upadesha that is given to him regularly, then it will remove all his impurities and it will make him pure. And again, if he keeps on chanting it without any personal requirements or personal needs, without asking itself, all those Nama chanting will provide it. And the third case is that when he reaches a level that the chanting has brought him to a stage that he will definitely attain moksha in this life, because we don't know all these things. It is a process that happens without us knowing it. So, but the Guru will understand it. So, the level of Nama, the level of the following of that instruction happens. So, the Guru keeps on seeing the way in which we progress. And if he has crossed that level and still he chants or still he follows the instruction that is provided, then the Guru will come again. Because he has having the tapas for him to go to moksha. And still he is generating more, then the Guru will utilize him to bring more people to moksha. So that is what here Narada Maharishi does. So initially he instructed him Ramanama for him to come out of the lowly life that he was living. So he grasped that Ramanama and he started to chant. So now what happens? His impurities are removed. So he gets higher and higher. Then now he has become Valmiki Maharishi himself. So being in such a state, so Narada Maharishi decides that using him, let us bring a great charitra to this world. So now this same Shishya of the Guru is going to be beneficial for the entire world. Initially he was not at all beneficial for himself. He made him he brought him up. Now he is beneficial for himself for the worldly things. And he again brings him up. Now he is beneficial for attaining moksha. Those benefits he has obtained. And still if he does that practice, then the Guru will come again and take him to a greater cause of being him useful for the entire humanity. So these are all planned by Narada Maharishi. Because there is a story for this also. Where initially once when Narada Maharishi went to Vaikuntham, because Narada Maharishi is a Triloka Sanchari, so whenever he decides, whenever he needs, he can go to any loka. That's what here Valmiki Maharishi also asked, Shrutva Chaita Trilokapyaha, since you are Triloka, but Trilokapyaha is a person who knows the happenings in all the three worlds, these questions that I pose to you will be apt. Because whether that person is not in this world, you will definitely know such a person being in some other worlds. So whether, if you see the case of Narada Maharishi, people who are so much fond of him are asuras only. Because they living in their place, they won't be able to know what are the plans of the devas. So generally what they do, they call Narada Maharishi and he will give him all the happenings in all the worlds. Don't consider as Bomba here, okay? It's not petty talks there, but that will be of a greater beneficial for the entire mankind. The way in which Narada Maharishi conducts himself and the way in which we have seen himself are known, it will be in such small things or the kalaham where he will create some issues between people, though that is not so. He is considered as the greatest rishi and he is the greatest among all the Bhagavatas and he is the Prathama Acharya Aradome Prasidatu. So that being the case, Narada Maharishi is great. So he is a person who knows everything. That is why here also Valmiki Maharishi mentions that, and once Narada Maharishi went to Vaikunta, and since he went there, there was a conversation between Tayar and Perumal about Ramavataram which Bhagavan is going to make. So Narada Maharishi is the first person who listens to the entire story of Ramayana in gist. So he learns from Bhagavan and Tayar's conversation that I am Naramara, I am going to be born as Rama, you will be born as Sita. So there is Ravana, he will be abducting you. All those are pre-planned. If you see in Bhagavan's level, it is pre-planned. When Bhagavan comes to this world, he also acts that he has forgotten everything. And he cries for Sita Devi, and Sita Devi is really suffering there. But for Namatara, all these things are needed. So that being the case, when this conversation was heard by Narada Maharishi earlier, and if we know which is very secret to some people, then we will have that idea of speaking, spreading it. Right? If Narada Maharishi, that too, something about Bhagavan's secret conversation, since Narada Maharishi has known it, so what will be his intentions? And he is a person, he speaks loudly. and is the outspoken person because he will not have anything as a secret at all for him. So that being the case, immediately Narada Maharishi from Vaikuntha, he jumps from them of the excitement that Bhagavan is going to make an avatar. So immediately when he jumps, he lands in Varuna Loka. So Varuna, who is the king of Varuna Loka, is there and he is cuddling his child. Bhrigu, the child's name is. So when he was cuddling this child, out of his total enthusiasm in which Narada Maharishi entered, and him cuddling his child, he didn't receive Narada Maharishi properly, and Narada Maharishi was very enthusiastic and very happy to tell that Bhagavan is going to make Rama Avataram and the entire Rama Charitra to Varuna. But he didn't. I feel he is so misfortunate that he wasn't able to hear since he was cuddling his child, and immediately Narada Maharishi got angry. I couldn't see any place where Narada Maharishi getting angry. It is Durvasa Maharishi, then it is true. But in the case of Narada Maharishi, it is very rare occurrence, but he gets angry here. And immediately he gives a curse to the child that child will be born in, will go to Bhuloka. So Varuna should be separated from his child because of not showing respect to Narada Maharishi and not listening to Ramaguna's Ramachandra Prabhu's Charitra. So immediately Varuna goes and falls at the feet of Narada Maharishi. And Narada Maharishi, because Rishehe Bhagavata Mukyasya Satyam Kartum Vacho Hari. If you go and fall or if you take refuge at the feet of Mahatma, then you only provide us greatness and goodness. So that being the case, when Varuna fell at the feet of Narada Maharishi gave him a word that you don't worry, I will use this child to write Ramayana itself. So the entire Ramacharitra will be written by this person, and that is Valmiki Maharishi. So again, they two join together, and Narada Maharishi gives him Ramanama. Now they have come to this stage, and Valmiki Maharishi is so astonished to see a person who is ruling the kingdom in which he is living having the same name that was initiated to him by Narada Maharishi. So if you see, Narada Maharishi has initiated Ramanama to him even before the avatar of Ramachandra Prabhu, I guess. So he has been constantly chanting it regularly, and now coming to know that same person is ruling the kingdom now, he is asking these questions. Konvasmin sampratam loke gunavan gascha viryavan dharmajnascha kritajnascha satyavakyo dridhavrataha charitrena cha koyuktaha sarvabhuteshu kohitaha. There are 16 questions that are posted by Valmiki Maharishi. It shows there are 16 kalas, that is the 16 acts of Bhagavan. So 16 means Purna, complete. So this shows that Ramavataram is a complete avatar. And he asks, Onvasmin Sampratam Loke. So 16 gunas, 16 qualities. And the first quality here is guna itself. Onvasmin Sampratam Loke Gunaman. So a person with great qualities, Viryavan, you should have valor. Dharmajnascha, Kritajnascha. He mentions all those gunas. And the most important one is the charitram, that is the character of Ramachandra Prabhu, the way in which he has conducted his entire life. So charitre nacha koyukta. So if you want to know the charitram, that is the story, you must see the charitram of that person, that is the character. Only then we can decide how he is. And if you see the way in which Ramachandra Prabhu has conducted himself is so great. And we have to applaud it because lastly he mentions Kasya Vibhyati Devascha Jata Roshasya Samungya. Generally, if you are a jiva, or if you take any human form here, all the jivas in this world, they do a lot of sins in their life, knowingly or unknowingly. And since they have been living such a life, so they have that guiltiness of coming and standing in front of Perumal or coming and standing in front of Guru. Whether we keep it to ourselves or whether we say it outside, we know the way in which we conduct ourselves. And generally, all the people, whether they completely believe in God, partially believe in God, or never not believe in God, I think they will be having a thought or a guiltiness that in which if they come and stand in front of Bhagavan, they have that doubt that whether Bhagavan will be knowing what are all the things or the sins that we have committed secretly or openly. So they will be having that doubt, and might be that guiltiness is the one that is forcing them not to come. It is the case of all the jivas. So, if we ourselves come and stand in front of Bhagavan, Bhagavan will be ready to speak to us. But why he is refusing? Because he feels that he will be afraid if he speaks to us. So if we come and stand in front of Perumal and if he calls our name and how are you, he asks us, then immediately the first thing we will do from the next day we will stop coming to the temple. Because it is a new occurrence, it is a rare occurrence. Generally, if people stop speaking, namak bayam. But in the case of Bhagavan, if Bhagavan starts to speak, then we will have fear. Because it doesn't happen, right? But it is only people, humans who are regularly speaking. So if he doesn't speak today, I am going to be Mauna Pratama. The first question we ask, are you not well? That will be the first, oh, I think you are in Mauna Pratama. Okay, and other answer. Why? Because it is a rare occurrence. Similarly, in the case of Bhagavan speaking becomes a rare occurrence. So, we have, if Bhagavan comes and talks to us, we will be afraid. That is why I feel that we are not hesitating to go to stand in front of great Mahans, or we are hesitating to go and stand in front of Perumal, having that doubt because of that guiltiness that we have committed something in secret. But the way in which Ramachandra Prabhu conducts his charitra is entirely different. If Ramachandra Prabhu has an opportunity to go and stand in front of any temple or in front of any deity in the temple, that deity should fear him. So, Kasya Vidhyati Devascha, the way in which he has conducted his charitra is in such a way that Ramachandra Prabhu's qualities, Ramachandra Prabhu's gunas should make that Devata to immediately manifest in front of him because of his superiorness in all those qualities. So, always Ashcharya, even that Devata should be astonished and seeing that how can a person follow Satyam to this extent? How can a Satyam person follow Dharma to this extent? How can a person follow Niti to such an extent that fear should be imposed to the Devatas itself? So he says, after eliminating Ravana, Ramachandra Prabhu says that Manushena Maya Jitaha, the dosha of Devas has been rectified by me in human form. So the dosha here is giving boons to Ravana and making him control the entire world is the dosha that has been created or that has been given by the Devatas, right? So Brahmadeva is the person who has given all the boons to Ravana, and it is mentioned by Devas that we are capable of eliminating Ravana, but since you have given this boon, we are hesitating. It can be an excuse also, it can be true also. But the Devas mention it. So that being the case, Ramachandra Prabhu says that Deva Sampadito Doshaha Manushena Maya Jitaha, I have won it. So that is the question that is being asked here, and the final answer comes in Viddhamanta for that last question. So Ramachandra Prabhu conducts his charitram in such a way, that his qualities in such a way that Devam should fear Ramachandra Prabhu. So Kasya Vidhyati Devascha Jata Roshasya Samyuhe. So if he gets angry, immediately the Devata should fear him. It seems, show me such a person. So if you ask those questions, see those questions that was asked by Valmiki Maharishi, it doesn't point to a human at all. So a human can never, then he will become an ideal person. But he wants Onvasmin Sampratam Loke. Since these all 16 questions, all the 16 qualities belong to Bhagavan, then immediately what should Narada Maharishi say? Guna Purnaya Vishnave. These qualities are present in Bhagavan. Kurayundru Illada Govinda. So I know Bhagavan, Sriman Narayana has all these qualities. And that is what Valmiki does. Valmiki Maharishi doesn't expect that. He says, Onvasmin Sampratam Loke. So he should not be in Vaikuntha, he should not be in Milky Ocean, he should not be in Devaloka. Those things are not there, not needed. Loke, this Loke. Sampratam, in this world. And meaning Samprata means in the time period in which I am living. If I want to go and meet such a person, I should go and meet him. He should be there directly present in front of me. And I have a doubt that the Nama that I have been chanting regularly and the person who is having the same name, we see the person with all these qualities. So that is an inner question which is posted by Valmiki Maharishi, which is not exactly present in the outside. So he asked these 16 questions, and immediately what should Narada Maharishi say? Narada Maharishi says that I know such a person, but you have mentioned only 16 qualities. I fear that there are even more greater qualities other than the 16 that are present in him. Not alone that, he has few other qualities which I also don't know. There are two ways, right? Valmiki has posted 16 questions. So because for that 16 qualities, he has even more greater qualities than that. And you have to understand that I, being a person, Trilokagnaha, you having the knowledge of all the three worlds, cannot contemplate on his qualities in full, is what Narada Maharishi says. Shutva Chaita Trilokagno Valmike Narado Vachaha Shuyatam iti Chamantya Prahrishto Vakyam Abhravit. But since he has asked these questions and it all relates to Ramachandra Prabhu, and that Ramachandra Prabhu is a Loka Uddharana Purusha. So immediately Valmiki Narada Maharshi is really happy. He says, Prahrushto Vakyam Abhrami. Whenever, if he asks these kind of questions to a Mahatma, the first thing that he shows is that he will be really happy. Prahrushto Vakyam Abhrami. So that is what sadhus like. Instead of going and constantly complaining to them, or instead of speaking about some worldly things to them, you go and ask few questions about Bhagavatam, you ask few questions about Mahabharatam, you ask few questions about Ramayana, they will be really happy. Prahrushto Vakyam Abhrami. And they will not refrain from answering, they will definitely answer. Bahavo durlabhaschaiva. Immediately Narada Maharshi asks, says that these alone are not there. He has several other gunas, several other qualities. Bahavo, there are several. Durlabhaha chaiva, that can't be present in normal humans. And that can't be entirely told by me also. Narada Maharshi is telling that I can't tell it in full. So, Bahavo durlabhaschaiva ye tvaya kirtita gunaha Mune Vakshyam Yaham Buddha Tayyuktaha Shuyatam Naraha. You are asking about a human who is having qualities which are very rare in humans. But since you have asked, there is a person with all those qualities and even with greater qualities than that. So immediately he starts. You are asking about a person and immediately he starts with Prajapati Samashriman. How great Ramachandra Prabhu. He is equivalent to Brahmadeva, it seems. He is asking about human. He has asked about Nara, and the first word that Valmiki Narada Maharishi tells is Prajapati Samashriman. You have seen Brahmadeva, he is equal to that Brahmadeva. Prajapati Samashriman Dhata Ripunishudanaha Ishriman. Because Sitevanu Tata Lakshmi Tasya Kin Nama Durlabham. Even when he is going to the forest, Sumitra Devi tells Kausalya Devi that you don't worry. Who is following him? If we have just a small amount of money in our pocket, we say it as Lakshmi Gadadharan, and that Lakshmi is following Ramachandra Prabhu. So you don't worry, all the things will be obtained by him. So Shriman. And if you see that Aya is always present in his Vakshasthalam, so Prajapati Samashriman Dhata Ripunishudanaha is a controller, he is an instructor. Dhata Ripunishudanaha, he eliminates all the people and his enemies. Rakshita Jiva Lokasya Dharmasya Parirakshita. Rakshita Swasya Dharmasya Swajanasya Cha Rakshita. So Ramachandra Prabhu, why is he going to the forest initially and then coming and ruling the kingdom? This is because of Rakshita Jiva Lokasya Dharmasya Parirakshita. Instead of asking people, instructing people to follow dharma or people to live a dharmic life, Ramachandra Prabhu, he lives a dharmic life and shows us that we have to be in this way. So Rakshita Jiva Lokasya Dharmasya Parirakshita, and in order to protect dharma, he has to protect his own dharma, right? So in order to protect dharma in the world, he has to protect his dharma. So Rakshita Swasya Dharmasya Swajanasya Cha Rakshita, he even protects his people also. And he has learned all the Shastras, Veda Vedanga Tattvajno, Dhanurvedhe Cha Nishtitaha, he is well versed in bow and arrow. So Dhanurvedhe Cha Nishtitaha, Sarva Shastrartha Tattvajnaha, he knows all the Shastras, all the secret things that are mentioned in the Shastras. Smritiman Pratibhanavan, he is full of tejas. Is beautiful. Oh, Sarvaloka Priyas Sadhu, all the people like him. So he mentions all these gunas of Ramachandra Prabhu and complete it in 100 shlokas. It is called as Samkshepa Ramayana. So in this Samkshepa Ramayana, Valmiki Maharishi is being told by Narada Maharshi all entire Ramayana Charitram in these 100 shlokas. And now he asks him to write this Ramayana in big. Tometat Dipuli Kuru, like how Brahmadeva in Bhagavatam told Narada Maharshi the greatness of Bhagavad avatars and all those things and asked him to make it big. So Tometat Dipuli Kuru. So likewise here Narada Maharshi asks Valmiki Maharshi to write Ramayana in full. So now if you see the way in which Valmiki Maharshi is, initially he was filled with Ramanama. Now he is completely filled with Rama Gunas. So he has immersed in two oceans. The first one is Ramanama ocean and the next one is Rama Guna ocean. So once a person is completely taken a dip or he has gone inside all those two oceans, and if he comes out, then he will be the perfect person to write the Ramacharitra. So that being the case, when immediately Valmiki Maharishi has obtained such a status to write Rama, because in order to write a big Shastra, in order to write a big Kavyam, he must learn, right? He should have all those jnanam, right? But those things are not there for Valmiki Maharshi at all, because he has not studied all those things. And he has obtained all those jnana just by chanting Ramanama. Just by chanting Ramanama, he has obtained all those jnana. So when Narada Maharishi instructed him to write Ramayana Charitra, and Valmiki Narada Maharishi reads, so the heart of Valmiki Maharishi is channeled in that direction now. So he is going to write a big kavya. So because of that, whatever he sees and wherever he sees, he is always trying to explain that. So whatever he sees it close to his heart, and he explains the way in which that forest is present, because he is going to write something, right? So his heart is channelized in such a way, and he is going to go to the Tamasa river for his evening bath along with his Shishya, who is called as Bharadwaja, and on seeing the pure water in the river, he explains it. He describes it to his Shishya, Akardamamidam Tirtham Bharadwaja Nishamaya Ramaniyam Prasannambu Sanmanushya Manoyatha. So he says, you see the water in this river, it is so pure that it is equivalent to the heart or the mind of sadhus. Look at the comparison. Generally, the heart of sadhus are unknown to us. We can't see how it is. And it is the water that is in the river or in the lake is what we can see. So that being the case, if you want to speak about the greatness of Mahan's heart, then we have to mention that the heart of Mahatmas, the mind of Mahatmas will be so pure, which is equivalent to the water that is flowing in the river. But it is the opposite. He says that the water that is flowing in the river is so pure as sadhu's heart. So the example here is a Mahatma's heart, and it is compared with the thing that is visible to us. Why Valmiki Maharishi is giving such an example? Because he tells us the Ramayana that I am going to write will push you from these worldly things, it will cover you, it will take you out, and it will take you inward, is what he mentions here. He mentions that the outward thing, for an outward thing he gives an example which is inward, that is a Mahatma's heart. So it is in the opposite direction. He mentions that if you keep on reading Ramayana, if you keep on thinking about Ramachandra Prabhu's gunas, if you keep on chanting his name, then you will move inward, is what he mentions. Akardamamidam tirtham Bharadwaja Nishamaya Ramaniyam Prasannambhu Sanmanushya Manoyatha. And after him taking bath in the river, he comes back, he sits in a tree, and he is going to start his japam there. At that time, there comes a hunter, and there are two crauncha birds sitting on the top of a tree. Crauncha in English means lovebirds. So they always be together. So being in such a state, and they are sitting on top of the tree, and this hunter comes and hits one of the birds. And the male bird is hit, and the female bird is flying around it, and it is constantly crying. And immediately seeing this, it creates a transformation in Valmiki Maharishi's heart. And immediately he curses that hunter. He says, Ma nishada pratishthantvam agamaha shashvati samaha yatrauncha mithunadekam akatihi kamamohitam. Now we have to analyze the heart of Valmiki Maharishi here, because it has created some transformation in him because of this ugly act created by this, done by this hunter. And we have to see who Valmiki Maharishi is. Earlier he himself was an hunter who has been hunting all these animals. And now, on seeing an hunter hitting one of the birds and the other bird crying, immediately Valmiki Maharishi feels for it. Immediately there is compassion that is flowing in his heart. And what is the reason for that? He himself was a person who was doing all these activities. And now he realizes that all those things are bad, and he is starting to curse now. What is the reason? It is the reason that his heart has become soft. His heart has become tender because of the chanting of Ramanama. And that Namarama has given him everything. He has been entirely transformed, he has been given all the knowledge, and now unknowingly a shloka comes out of his mouth. Is it possible? Generally, if you want to scold someone, or if you want to shout at someone, you will not be asking for a paper and pen and write a shloka. Never happens. So that being the case here, Valmiki Maharishi is immediately rendering a shlokam to curse that hunter. So if you want to scold Bhagavan, at least there is a stuti called Ninda Stuti where we scold Bhagavan through our stotra and that becomes a stotra finally. But here, in order to shout and scold or curse and hunter, Valmiki, shloka comes out from Valmiki Maharishi's mouth. And he thinks about it. Now, since he has realized that this shloka has come out through his mouth, he is always, how come a shloka can come out from my mouth? Because I have not studied anything at all. From the day that is known to me, I have not gone to school, I have not studied any of the Shastras, nothing is known to me, how can a shloka come from my mouth? And immediately, when this shloka comes out, Valmiki Maharshi is so confused. He doesn't know how it comes out. All those things are there. But the people who have written commentary for this shloka feels that how come the first words of this great saint, great Rishi, Adi Kavi can be a curse. So he says that Ma Nishada. Nishada means hunter. You will not live long because you have, without compassion, you have hit one of the two lovebirds and the other one is really suffering. Because of that, you will not live long. This is what the curse of Valmiki Maharshi is. And here, great Mahans can't accept this curse. Not accept the curse, it's not that they can't accept the curse. They feel that how come the first shloka of Valmiki Maharshi can be a curse? Because if you see, before Valmiki Ramayana, there was only one Shastra, that is Vedas. And the second one that originated in Sanatana Dharma is Valmiki's Ramayana. And the first shloka of Valmiki Ramayana, how can that be a curse? And immediately Mahatmas do Vyakhyanam for this. They create a fault in this shloka. In order to convert this curse into a praise, they create a fault. And it is called as Duranmayi, stating that the Ma Nishada, there is a grammatical error is what they feel and they want to change it. So they say, they join the first two words. First word is Ma and the next word is Nishada. So Ma means no, Nishada means hunter. And if you join those two words, now it becomes Ma Nishada. So Ma here means Lakshmi and Nishada means one who is not away from Lakshmi at all. So if you join those two words, it becomes our Srinivasa Dharma. So Ma Nishada. So Agalagile Ilayum Vendru Alarmel Mangai Urai Marba. Shriya Shrihi is what is mentioned here. He says Ma Nishada, a person whom Lakshmi Devi doesn't leave and who doesn't leave Lakshmi Devi also. So Ma Nishada, who is having Lakshmi Devi in this Pakshasthala. Ma Nishada Pratishtanto. So since this Ma is joined with Nishada, so it says, it addresses Ramachandra Prabhu or Bhagavan himself and mentions that you will have Sashwati Samaha. So you will be praised longly. So all the people will be praising you from the day one to however days still remaining. So Ma Nishada Pratishtanvam Aghama Shashwati Samaha. Because of Yat Krauncha Midunadrekam. So since there are two birds, he compares it. Krauncha means Rakshasas also. Krauncha means birds also. So he compares, joins it with two Rakshasas, Mandodari and Ravana. And in that Mandodari and Ravana, you have eliminated, since you have eliminated Ravana, so you are going to have a Shashwati Kirti in this world. So this is how, because why Valmiki Maharshi is writing this shlokam, and this should only be in his heart. Because at the time when Valmiki Maharshi writes this shloka, look at the situation of Ramachandra Prabhu. Ramachandra Prabhu is already separated from Sita Mata. After coming to the kingdom, she is pregnant now and she has been left in the forest. So, and she is living in Valmiki Maharshi's ashrama. And generally we used to say that this is a big crime. For Sita Devi's Bhakta, they feel that this is a big crime related to Ramachandra Prabhu. How can Ramachandra Prabhu send Sita to forest at this junction? Because he understood who Sita Mata is. Anjaneya Swami gave him answers for how the chastity of Sita Devi is. Vibhishana has given answers how the chastity of Sita Devi is. And finally Ramachandra Prabhu has asked her to do Agni Pravesham. And finally he has accepted. And now if some people in the kingdom speak bad or ill about her, and how can that accusation taken into consideration, and why did he send Sita Devi to the forest? And here Mahatma said that there is some solace or consolation for Ramachandra Prabhu. Generally, if a woman is pregnant, she will be sent to her father's place, parents' place. So that being the case, but here in the case of Sita Devi, Janaka Maharaja is not there, it seems. So immediately if the father is not there, the next place where we take her is to the brother's place. So if you see, Valmiki Maharishi and Sita Devi are brother and sister, it seems. So immediately you should ask how. How? Because Sita Devi also originated from Bhuma Devi. And if you see Valmiki Maharishi, he is given a name called Vasudha Shrotra. So since he has originated from ant hill, the ant hills are ears for Bhuma Devi. So it looks like ear to the earth, right? So even since Valmiki has come out from that ant hill, he is also related to Bhuma Devi because ant hill is made of sand. So since he is also came out from that ant hill, he also becomes a son for Bhuma Devi now. So now Sita Devi and Valmiki Maharishi are brothers and sisters. So it gives a consolation for Ramachandra Prabhu that I have done the right thing. Right, but there are some consolations that have been told. So immediately Sita Devi at that moment, she is living in Valmiki Maharishi's ashram and she has given birth to 2 children, which Valmiki Maharishi is very aware. Similarly, he also knows that Sita Devi and Ramachandra Prabhu are separated. So in order to give a consolation for him that though in this avataram Ramachandra Prabhu and Sita Devi are separated, it is just a leela that is being performed by them in this avataram, but that is not the real context. According to the concept or philosophically, they are always together. Ma Nishada. They can never be separated. This is what Sita Devi mentions to Ravana. You are mentioning that you have separated me from Ramachandra Prabhu, which can never happen. Ananya Raghavenaham Bhaskarena Prabhayata. How? The sun and its rays can never be separated. Likewise, myself and Ramachandra Prabhu can never be separated. This is what she mentions. So, here, Valmiki Maharishi uses this as a consolation for him. So he says, Ma Nishada, you are philosophically, you are never separate, you are always together. But in this avatara, in this leela, you are acting that you are separated and you are undergoing the sorrows. So immediately that is the second meaning for this shloka, which great sadhus have composed, and they are mentioning that this is the apt meaning for this shloka, which becomes Mangala Sasanam for Ramachandra Murthy through the words of Valmiki Maharishi. So, Ma Nishada Pratishthantvam Agama Shashwati Samaha Yakrauncha Mitunadegam Avadhihi Kamamohitam. And this shlokam decides the theme of Ramayana. So, what is the theme of Ramayana first? You have to know, right? So, this shloka shows 2 things. You see the before shloka which explains how Valmiki Maharishi gave this curse. So it mentions Risehe Dharmatmanaha Tasya Karunyam Samapadyata. So it generates 2 things. The first thing is Valmiki Maharishi is compassionate towards the another bird which is being suffering. So he shows his compassion. Karunyam is showed there. And the second one is he gets angry at the hunter because of the adharma that he has done. But if you see, for a hunter, hunting is dharma. But why Valmiki Maharishi is mentioning this as an adharma? Because they are together. So they are in such a situation. In this juncture, why have you hit that bird? That is what he asks. At this juncture, it is wrong. It is adharma. So because of that adharma, he gets angry. So if you see, this is the theme of Ramayana. So the theme of Ramayana is dharma and compassion. Dharma and karunya. So the entire Ramayanam, the theme of Ramayana is summarized in this shloka. So the reason for the shloka originating, the compassion of Valmiki Maharishi towards the bird, and the dharma, showing his anger on seeing an adharma becomes dharma. So and that dharma and this karunya is the entire 24,000 shlokas of Ramayana. So Ma Nishada Pratishthantvam Aghamaha Shashwati Samaha Yatrauncha Mitunadekam Avadhihi Kamamohitam. So he returns to his ashram now, thinking of this shloka. But if you see in his ashram, someone else is welcoming him, and that is Brahmadeva. Ajanama Tato Brahma Lokakarta Swayam Prabhu. You see, lot of Rakshasas, they do several years tapas to have darshan of Brahmadeva. But Brahmadeva is uninvitedly, he is standing in Valmiki Maharishi's ashrama because he is going to write Ramayana Charitra. So Valmiki Maharishi is invited by Brahmadeva to his ashram. That is Valmiki's ashram. And on seeing Brahmadeva, how should Valmiki Maharishi react? But he is always thinking about this shloka. He is still thinking how this shloka originated from my words. How did it come out? He is always thinking about it, and the answer is going to be given by Brahmadeva. So So Brahmadeva says, Machanda devate brahmanne pravritteyam saraswati. So it is beautifully depicted here. It says that Saraswati is knowledge, right? So Valmiki Maharshi has obtained that knowledge. And if you see who Saraswati Devi is the wife of Brahmadeva. So without Brahmadeva's knowledge, can Saraswati Devi come and sit on the tongue of Valmiki Maharshi? It is not possible, right? So Brahmadeva says, it is because of my instruction that this jnanam, the Saraswati Devi in the form of jnanam, has come to your mouth, has come to your tongue. So he says, it is my instruction only, so you don't worry. It is because of my anugraham only you have got this knowledge. Now if you see, to write Ramayana Charitram, a family has joined together and come to Valmiki Maharshi's hermit. First, the child came, that is Narada Maharshi. Then the mother came, that is Saraswati Mata. And now the father has come, it is Brahmadeva. And on the entire contrary, if you see, the time in which the Ramayana Charitram is written, Ramachandra Prabhu's family is separated. So this shows that Ramayanam will join families. Kudumba Vrittim, Dhanadhanya Vrittim, Shriyasya Mukyaha, Sukham Uttamam. This is the final Palashruti of Ramayana. And if you see, Valmiki Maharishi mentions this to Ramachandra Prabhu and says that you have listened to this Ramayana now, and now you should join their family, right? Because my Palashruti is Kudumba Vrittim. So families will unite together, families will progress together. So that is what he mentioned. So Ramayanam will join families, will make families prosper. So immediately Brahmadeva, Narada and Saraswati Mata are joined together for Valmiki Maharshi to write Ramayana. And immediately Valmiki Maharshi will ask, right, why should I write Ramayana? Why should I make efforts to write Ramayana? For that Brahmadeva says, Dharmatmano gunavataha loke ramasya dhimadaha ramasya charitam kritstam kurutvam rishi sattama. He mentions three qualities. The first one is Dharmatmanaha. Ramachandra Prabhu is a Dharmatma, so you should write his Charitra. So next one is Gunavataha. Gunavata means he is having all the qualities, so you should write his Charitra. Because of Dharma and his qualities, you have to write his Charitra. And the third one is Dhimataha, that is the result of learning or reading Ramayana. So Dhimataha means knowledge. So Dharmatmanaha. So the first one is Dharma. So if you see Ramayana as a Kavyam, it shows us Dharma, then we should be equivalent to Ramachandra Prabhu in that. So if the Dharmas which are showed by Ramachandra Prabhu, you have to practice it, then we will become Dharmatma. And Gunavataha, so his qualities are so great, and it can't be incorporated by humans. That is what I was telling from the beginning. And if you see all these qualities and feel that I am not able to be in any of these, show any of these qualities, then that becomes Bhakti. So, Dharmatmano Gunavataha. On seeing the gunas, you can show bhakti towards Ramachandra Prabhu. On seeing the dharma, you can live in the same standard in which Ramachandra Prabhu lived. And both these things have scope in Ramayana. So, if you see, in the case of Sita Devi, Ramachandra Prabhu doesn't show any compassion to her. In what case? When he wants to accept her, he asks her to go into the Agni Pravesha, into the fire, and then only he tests her and then accepts, because she is showing the equal quality, equal dharmas in which Ramachandra Prabhu showed. So even when she was living in Ashokavanam, she never, her mind never changed, or she didn't show anything towards Ravana. So that being the case, she was been showing the same dharmas which Ramachandra Prabhu possessed. And in order to accept her, Ramachandra Prabhu checks whether she is in that dharma itself. And again, if you see, the second case is Ahalya. For Sita Devi, Ramachandra Prabhu is forcing her to do Agni Pravesham. And in the case of Ahalya, just a dust coming from his feet will purify her. And literally, Ahalya has done wrong there. But in the case of Sita Mata, it is not so. But in the case of Ahalya, Ramachandra Prabhu's dust from the feet is enough to purify her, but in the case of Sita Mata, she should do Agni Pravesha. So if you see, both has scope in Ramayana. If you are not able to show the qualities that Ramachandra Prabhu possessed, you can go and at least go and cry to him. Pray to him that at least I am trying but I am not able to, then that becomes Bhakti. If you show the dharma and the traits that Ramachandra Prabhu showed, then it becomes Dharmatma. So Dharmatmano Gunavataha Loke Ramasya Dhimataha. At least we should catch dharma, at least we should catch bhakti. Then that dharma will create Chitta Shuddhi to us and it will take us to bhakti. At least if you have bhakti, then we can directly go to jnana. So dharma and guna corresponds to finally the result, that is jnana. So dharmatmano gunavato loke ramasya dhimataha. And he gives a few ashirvadams also here to Valmiki Maharshi, mentioning that you don't worry, you will there will always, what you write will be true. Nateva anrita kavye kachit atra bhavishyati. And he mentions this Ramayana that you write will be everlasting. It will be till the time the sun, the moon and all the mountains and the oceans remain. Yavatstasyanti virayaha saridascha mahitale tavat Ramayana katha lokeshu pracharishyati. He mentions till how long the sun, moon and the mountains are present, till then Ramayana will be there. And he also mentions that till how much this Ramayana is present in this world, till then you will be in my world. Man loke tu vishruta, he tells that Valmiki Maharishi will be in Brahma Loka. And if you examine this shloka, till how much these mountains are present and the sun and the moon are present in this world, Ramayana will be there. If you analyze that, it mentions that sun, moon, mountains and oceans are part of nature. So this shows that Ramayana is part of nature. Similarly, sun, moon, mountains and oceans are benefit for the society. Similarly, Ramayana is also benefit for the society. This is what Brahmadeva means to Valmiki Maharishi, and he blesses him. And immediately Brahmadeva disappears and Valmiki Maharishi is sitting in his ashram and he writes the entire Ramayana. Tadupagata samasa sandhiyogam samamaduropa natartha vakyavadham prabhuvara charitam unipraneekam dashashilasascha nishamedu. This slokam describes the way in which Valmiki Maharshi has written Ramayana. Tadupagata, all the words, all the phrases, all the sentences, all the grammatical notes, everything approached Valmiki. Tadupagata. All those things came to Valmiki Maharshi because the language wants to be a part of Ramayana. All the words here, all the letters here, all the apostrophes and all the bars that are present here, all those things want to be in Ramayana because the language wants to be in Ramayana, because they feel that they are blessed to be a part of Ramayana. So the words approached him. He didn't go and search, oh, first I will write this one, no, this is not right. So immediately he has the paper and he returns another. So it's not that. All the words approach to Valmiki Bhagavan. So Tadupagata samasa sandhiyogam. And the way in which the words approach was sama madhuropa natartha. It was sweet and it was good. That is a very rare occurrence. If something is sweet, it will not be good. If something is good, it will not be sweet. For an example, the medicines that we take. So the medicines that we take is not sweet at all, but it is good. If you take sugar, it is sweet, but it is not at all good. So sama madhuropanata vakyavadham raghuvara charitam. So he has written Ramayana Kavyam and he is teaching this Kavyam to Ramachandra Prabhu's sons, that is Lava and Kusha, who are living in Valmiki Maharshi's here. So this will complete today. Janaki Kanta Smaranam Jai Rama Anjaneya Swamiji Jai Sadguru Maharaj Ki Jai.